Tomorrow. Hey everybody, it's time of the signs. It's Mark here. We've got Stefan from To Those Who Will Listen. He's here with me, and we're gonna have a few things to talk about. How are you, Stefan?
I'm doing a lot better than I was earlier today, that's for sure.
Yeah, you said you were sick, right?
Yeah, it was like a sudden 24-hour thing. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you feel better. I was afraid we weren't gonna be able to talk about everything tonight, so that's good. That's good. We have the chat open, so if anybody can maybe chime in, if anybody's watching, just feel free to let us know. We have that open and available for you. But
And I'm gonna go check
Stefan,
it real quick to see if it's really there.
okay.
Make sure because I know we've had problems with that in the past, so don't mind me. Go ahead.
Yeah, and what we want to talk about tonight is something I think is extremely important. Especially to Christians. Christians have, um, regardless of their faith, there's this. Every human has a. Um, they want to trust people, and especially someone as charismatic. They want to trust them and believe them. For instance, in a congregation, at a church or anything like that, the old expression of wolf in sheep's clothing. Those are who you got to watch out for. And we want to try to help y'all discern who those kind of people are and what to look for. So that's ultimately what we were wanting to talk about tonight, because this system that's coming in, the Nibiru system, Planet X, Wormwood, whatever you want to call it, is going to be an open opportunity, an open door for cults and opportunities for people to put themselves on a pedestal to, play God, I guess you could say. Would you agree, Stefan? Because
Definitely.
in the past, we've got the, you know, Hell Bop, which that was in our recent, if you're within 25, 35 years old, at least, you remember Hell Bop being in 1997. And, that's, Applegate, Marshall Applegate. But I remember that pretty vividly. I remember seeing the comet in the sky, and nobody knew it was coming. Everybody knew when Haley's comet was coming. You know, and that was an event, and I don't know if there was cults or if there was anything like that involved with that or not. I have no idea. I didn't research that, but I do remember seeing images of people's tennis shoes, you know, all dressed in the same outfit, draped in sheets, in California, where they thought that they were going into a spaceship. Hell Bop was going to come back and take them away. So ultimately, that's what we want to talk about. Those kind of cults and what to watch out for, because people are so easily manipulated. And not to say that we're all gullible, we all are to some extent. I know I am. I'm too trusting. What about you, Stefan?
Same here, yeah.
I mean, I trust you. I mean, I don't think that you're gonna, you know, claim that there's gonna be like a rapture or anything tomorrow. Because I mean, you're pretty. No, that was good. That was really good. I thought that was great. That was a classic.
I
You
just
had me
thought
going.
everybody needed a little laughter in their lives. It wasn't meant to
Well,
be
yeah,
anything bad.
and that's why I've got like a side YouTube channel. It's just for fun stuff. It's not all about the doom and gloom. This is like gonna be, yeah, it may be painful. We may suffer, but in the end, no matter what you have to go through to get there, if you have faith in God, you, you're gonna be all right. You know where you're going. Everybody else doesn't matter. I mean, we want to try to save you from all that crap in between. So I guess we can dig in.
Right.
You know.
All right. One thing before we go,
Yes, sir.
can you see the message I put
Can you see what
in the
now? I'm
chat?
sorry.
Can you see the message in the chat?
I do not see yours.
Really?
What are you doing wrong, Stefan?
It looked like it worked
Let's see. It says, to those who
from
listen, joined group chat.
there. We here. Good. Trent is here. Yes. Good. Okay. I'm gonna get off of this part so it won't get out of the YouTube one. So then, because that there.
Well, if there's anybody else that's listening, hey, chime
Oh
in. Please,
crap!
please
Oh
do.
no!
You say, hey, you
I
guys
hope
are
I
a bunch of
didn't get
morons.
still there. Is it still working? I accidentally X'd out the other one and X'd out this one.
Oh, shame on you, man. See if I can get this in the full screen. There we go.
You
Hope
might have
you
to invite
guys
me.
had a good Easter weekend. Hope y'all had a
Oh,
good family. And, good family time, too. It's not all about the Easter bunny and, all that good stuff. But, hey, it's a lot of fun watching the nephews hunt for Easter eggs. It's really fun.
Am I here still? Can
Yeah,
me?
you're
Can you
here.
hear me?
I can see you. I can hear you.
Okay, good. Because I thought I accidentally X'd out of us, but I guess it was on a different thing. Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Do you have anything you want to say before we get started on cults and charismatic leaders?
Uh, the only thing I think is, for everybody out there, just the main thing to believe is to believe in Jesus and believe in the Bible. I think that's the main foundation of everything. If once you start listening to other people, and if they kind of stray away from Jesus and the Bible, then I would kind of be wary then.
Yeah, I agree with you. And if you don't mind, I was going to go into just a little bit of my personal experience with uh, people that in my past, and it's what's taken me so long. I'm 34, and it's not like I'm that old, but in my teenage years, I attended two churches, and they were both non-denominational churches. They were good churches up to a certain point. Um, you know, it ended up both pastors, both leaders of the church, ended up having inappropriate affairs with some of their, congregation, and that destroys a lot of trust, and you know, not only just that, but amongst a lot of other things, caused me to really, really doubt, Christianity, because a lot of people don't. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And that's so easy to do. But if you're true in your faith, you don't have anything to hide. Your actions are going to be what you say. It's like we say, it's proof in the pudding. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is it put a scar on me, two times over, and it ruined me for a while. I had a lot of hatred towards God, and God never turned his back on me, but I turned my back on God. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, and it wasn't his fault. I based all my judgment on what those people did. It wasn't until I got later in life and I finally started to see people and meet people that were true Christians that gave me true advice. So, and that brings me to the point that I am now is I'm not I accepted Christ when I was younger, but it took me a long time to figure out what it was really about. And you know what? That's where I'm at right now. Is you just got to be humble. Say I can't do it all by myself. God, you take the reins because I'm not doing so good at life. So after that, things have been better. Things really have been better. I'm happier now than I've been in a long time. So trying to mend some relationships that I've ruined in the past, or they've ruined, or whatever, doesn't matter. That's what you have forgiveness for. So, which one would you like to talk about first, Stefan? We touched on, the Heaven's Gate in San Diego. I mean, in San Francisco. No, San Diego. Well, actually, that was in LA, wasn't it? Yeah. So, you know, they thought they were going into a spaceship. Come on, guys. If there's like a staged alien invasion, whether it be our governments, that's that's a bad thing because a lot of people are going to jump onto that bandwagon. This guy probably had good intentions at first, and that's one thing that I'd like to talk about. Is it's the core of a cult starts with one person, a narcissist, and that person thinks that he's or she is greater than what they really are. So when this person attracts people and has a following, then he has power over those people's minds, so to speak. That can happen anywhere. That can happen in a Southern Baptist church. That can happen in any type religion. Like
Right.
take ISIS for instance. Al Baghdadi. They follow that person like a leader. They're not worshiping the religion, the God. They're more. It's like a cult almost.
Right.
So, ISIS. I think we both agree that ISIS isn't dead. Just because the mainstream media says it's dead. I don't mean to bounce around on topics too much, but it all comes down to the core person. You know, you got to watch out for those certain people that have charisma. And back to the screen with David Koresh and the Branch Davidians.
Are you seeing the screen?
Yeah, yeah, you're right there on the Branch Davidians.
Maybe I
And
should ask the viewers if they can see it too, just to make
yeah,
sure.
yeah, and hey, Stefan, while we're here talking about the Branch Davidians, explain to them what you pointed out to me about the snake and the star.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I never even seen this before in my life until tonight. But if you see the fourth picture there, there's a snake going through a like a star. But what I noticed was if you look at the each section of the star, there's like it's divided into three little rectangles, I guess, three sections each. But if you put them together, you could come up with 666.
Hmm. I wonder if that was inadvertently, or I mean, I'm sure somebody took their time to design that. I mean,
Right,
it's sort of symbolic of something. I think they were more of a just leave us alone, don't bother us, we're not doing anything wrong. Until David Koresh, decided that he was, Jesus like, he was God like. And if
right.
anybody doesn't know who David Koresh is, he's the guy with the sunglasses right there in the middle, the eyeglasses.
There, I put it right in the middle.
Early on in life, that guy probably wasn't a bad guy. There's a lot of events that leaded up to where his fiery death was. You have the ATF. You've got the FBI raiding this compound because there were reports of them storing weapons and automatic weapons, which is illegal unless you have the proper licenses, in which he did not. And there were reports of him having relations with young girls. I'm not talking about 18-year-olds. I'm talking about 10-year-olds, 13-year-olds. And I don't care where you live and what culture you're from. But that's not right.
Yeah, that's wrong.
On top of that, you should be married, not to a 10-year-old, but you know what I mean.
Right.
But you see these pictures in Waco, Texas, and I remember this happening. It was a scary thing. We always called it Waco, Texas. You know,
Right.
and these people thought that the government was coming in, and this was the apocalypse. This is what they were. They actually were storing all these weapons for to fight off this exact battle. To them, this was the Battle of Armageddon. This was it.
Yeah.
And life went on. But everybody else that lived through it had to suffer. And I've seen a lot of things about the Branch Davidians, and a lot of them still wish they would have died that day. That's how much power a cult leader has over someone. It's just amazing. Mount Carmel. That is crazy. But, like I said, it all depends on a narcissist. And, someone like Adolf Hitler, I don't think his intentions were bad at first, but it turned out to be a lot worse than that. And we all know what Nazi Germany turned into in the destruction of that. There's nothing good that comes out of all this. There's narcissistic people all day long. I've got narcissistic traits, but I'm not gonna exterminate 6 million Jews. Those people did not ask for that. It was a sick agenda, and it was based in a cult, not cult, but a cult. It was the Braille Society. All of it combined equaled into us being at war, all these countries being at war, England, all of them. And that was the last of the greatest generation that had a fight in that. And to hear the news reports of people calling people Nazis, it's humiliating to see someone do that. It bothers me, because if you go and ask someone that actually fought in those wars, World War One, World War Two, nobody from World War One still alive, I don't think, but if they had to fight Nazi Germany, or if there's a concentration prisoner survivor, they've still got that tattoo, like Stefan was saying earlier. He had the right idea. He was marking everybody. That is just unbelievably unacceptable. And you said how many Soviets died? Was it 7 million?
7.
7 million Soviets.
Yes.
And that in itself is just unacceptable as well.
Right.
Sure, we want peace, but there's going to be a point in time where peace and security are going to prevail for about a very, very short time. But who else we got? We have Jim Jones. Yeah, Adolf Hitler just wasn't a good dude. The Antichrist is supposed to be a good-looking guy. He definitely wasn't one of them.
I think he thought he was the Antichrist.
I think so. And I think Jim Jones, I think he thought he was just, I think he was just an opiate addict. I don't know what would have happened if what was this, a congressman decided to go down there and investigate. And that was
Yeah.
his demise. They wanted out. They slipped him a note, said they wanted out. So he forced him to drink. Or didn't force him. They volunteered to drink Kool-Aid, or whatever it may have been.
Yeah, Kool-Aid and Flavor Aid.
No, yeah, it could have been Tang too. Like I was saying. Who knows?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna type on here and say, hey, all right. So that happened in Guyana. And when was that? Was that 19? What is it? 79? I can't read that close up here. I don't have my glasses on. Was it 1978? Yeah.
78 was when, when everybody died.
You know,
Whereas,
there's no such thing as a utopia on Earth. The only utopia there's going to be is in heaven. And
exactly.
that's just the way it is. All these people look happy up until when they start getting oppressed by this person. They start getting controlled by their mind. Kind of like Charles Manson. He would give people LSD. Um, you know, and he would give large amounts of LSD to, you know, his followers, and he would take just a small amount. And we know what happened with that. And I believe that Jonestown, the amount of people that died, what was it, 918? 918 people died because they wanted to follow somebody that had the wool over their eyes.
Yeah.
I don't understand. All in all, I mean, what do you think, Stefan? I mean, we've got this planetary system coming in. We've got governments trying to cover all this stuff up. Once this stuff starts to being able to be seen in larger amounts, as far as not just lens flares or FAA cams, I'm talking about with the naked eye. You know, we just need to know what to look for. You know, if somebody's trying to get you to follow something that's contrary to what you believe, you need to stick to your guns. And the only way you can do that is prayer, and you got a Bible. It's a roadmap for you.
Yes. And if anyone strays from there, then I would go back and pray to Jesus and look back in the Bible and just make you gotta go with what you have to what you really truly believe and try not to be deceived.
Well, it's going to be so slick. They're going to slide it in. I mean, just it's going to be so easy. They're going to make it as almost like a no brainer. That's what I believe.
Yeah,
Like I said,
it's gonna be
God's
it's
going to
gonna be
come.
like a fitting answer to everything.
That's right. And we need to watch out for that person. That one person that's charismatic. That one person that everybody likes. You know. There's a lot of people that like Trump. But there's a lot of people that don't like Trump. And I'm just using Trump as an example. But what I'm saying is everyone will like this person because he's going to have the answers for the peace. He's going to have the answers for the security. He's going to have the answers to all the famine, the thirst, the hunger, everything. You name it, he's got it. And you know what? You need to run from that person.
Exactly.
I'm about to start building a garden in my backyard. And here's my only problem with that is, you know, if all this stuff fails, as far as the sun simulator, all that stuff, if the sun is weak, are we going to be able to grow? That's my only question. Are we going to be able to grow anything that's going to be able to produce fruit to eat? Um, that's something that I guess you or I can't answer, but
Right.
it can't hurt to try.
Yeah.
They're going to go to their every length to the very end. I know this. But what about Charles Manson? He's more of the mainstream cool guy, of the group. You
Yeah.
know, he started a
He just
group
recently
with a.
died too.
Go ahead, man.
Sorry, he just recently died.
Yeah, and they're fighting over his estate, from what I understood. I didn't know that
Yeah.
someone in prison for that long would have an estate. I don't understand that, but that's how they do it in California. But Charles Manson, that dude is the epitome of a cult like.
Evil.
Yeah, you know, he wanted to start a race war by killing Sharon Tate. He didn't kill anybody, but his followers did. And that's what kind of power someone will have over you. I'm not worried about someone picking you off the street and say, "Hey, I want you to go kill somebody." No, I'm not worried about that. It's a process. This doesn't happen overnight. They gain your trust and they exploit you. And this all sounds far fetched, but if it's in small amounts over time, that's what's going to happen. Read your book. My neighbor told me the other day, he said, "Mark, you know, the book works. You got to work the book. If you stay true to that book and keep it and hold it tight, that's what's going to get you through this. You got to pray." This isn't a fear mongering video. This is just saying, hey, this is what's happened in history, and we know what happens in history is going to repeat itself. History repeats itself. And you know what? I'm not going to be a part of it. I'm going to go my own way, and that way is God's way. I mean, that dude does not look like a happy guy. I wouldn't want to be in his life. But the thing is, the people that followed him that are still being denied parole, when they talk about Charles Manson, their eyes still light up. You know, my wife made that observation. Their eyes light up like, it was something special, and they still have control over a portion of their mind. And it's sick. But that's the nature of occult mentality. And I think we were going to talk about propaganda when we were talking about the Nazis. Propaganda is the strongest tool to get the word out, to get for you to understand what they're trying to get their point across, such as like Joseph Goebbels in the Nazi regime in the Third Reich. That was his job, and he was very good at his job. He was very crafty. Even at the very last days of the war, he still had the German public believing that they were winning when the Soviets were knocking on their door. And as much as I hate to say it, we have modern day Joseph Goebbels. We have YouTube. We have mainstream media. It doesn't matter if it's Fox, it doesn't matter if it's CNN, it doesn't matter if it's NBC, whatever. You're getting from them the only thing that they want you to hear.
Right.
Discern for yourself. Question everything. And I'm not saying you question if it's going to be a thunderstorm today. No, don't question that. It's probably going to have a thunderstorm today. But you can't just don't take everything in and just take it to heart and say this is what it is. Use your judgment.
Right. Like we were talking about earlier, don't just read the title. You got to read the content.
That's right. I'm
I
really
had
bad
that
about
happen today. Quite a bit today, actually.
Yeah, you know what? I thought you did great with that. When I saw that today, I was like, no, Stefan, no. No, 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 no. I was like, I thought I knew him better than that. And then after he said, "Oh yes, April Fools," man, I was like, "Oh man, that was pretty ingenious. Good job on that." I didn't even think about it being April Fools. Otherwise, I probably would have thought about it. But then again, that goes to the point you were making. I just read the title until I listened to it.
Right. I had lots of comments that just saying, you know, about the date, oh, how, you can't be tomorrow, but they didn't even listen to it.
No,
And,
they didn't.
and that's what a lot of the trolls will do out there too. They will just read the title, not even listen to what you're saying, and then base it on that, and then they'll attack you. And it's like, I'd never said that.
That's right. Well, they like putting words in your mouth.
Yeah, that's another thing too. We could talk about too about false prophets and stuff. These trolls are trying to uh, manipulate people by saying certain things on comments to get people to to go against what you're trying to say. So that there's another one really.
Well, that's right. The thing when you say that is, I remember on a show that WSO did. Was talking about um, people that are friends. Let's say somebody from WSO, maybe Steve Olson, whoever, is friends with another person, and someone comments in place of that other friend to get Olson. For instance, I'm not saying this is what happened, but get Olson to be mad at the other person and try to disrupt their friendship, so it disrupts this whole community. You have a circle of people, and if you start disrupting that circle, you start breaking the circuit, just like an electrical circuit. It doesn't go around. You got to stick together. And I've been trying to get a lot of people's emails, and so eventually I think that YouTube will pull the plug on
Yeah,
people like you and I.
that
I
day's
have no doubt.
coming.
Yeah, I have
It's
no doubt in my
already
mind.
been announced. They're already looking at anybody that has a conspiracy theory. Well, that's
Yeah,
pretty much everybody here.
right. And they were going to put a Wikipedia page, um, debunking every single person that has a theory contrary to the mainstream media, which I think is ridiculous. I think it's a waste of time. You know, I mean, it's no different than grandma and grandpa sitting on, the back porch with their neighbors talking about, conspiracies going on in the government in the 20s. I know it's a horrible analogy, but it's just a modern version of that. You know, let's see
There it
what
is, right?
this has to say. And you guys that are listening, I really appreciate y'all tuning in tonight to listen to us two talk about this, because I think it is important. This isn't all about the sun simulator. This isn't all about chemtrails and all that other stuff. This is real life stuff that will affect you, and if you don't watch it, it'll affect you very badly. It'll suck you right in and spit you out.
So I guess the main thing with that too also is when these ideas are presented, just don't automatically go there, question it, and research it. Don't just go with the flow, because that's what's going to happen when the end. Everyone's going to be going in one direction, and if you go the opposite direction, they're going to know, you know, something's wrong there.
Well, I agree. I agree, and that goes back to what I was telling you earlier, Stefan. Is you know when I accepted Christ into my heart, you know, and when I was 13 or so, the first person that chastised me for, saying that I was being trying to be perfect or something like that. It hurt my feelings. It hurt me to speak out about God. Because I was shy. I was young, and I looked up to my brother, and when he chastised me about it, I said, you know what, this isn't worth it. I love my brother. I love my brother more than I love God. At that point, So I said, you know what, I'm done. I don't. I'm not doing this. I'm gonna go do my own thing. And then a lot of this other stuff with church started happening, and it kind of validated how I was feeling. And your mind gets distorted into believing what other people's wrongdoings. You believe in that stuff, and you somehow, in my mind, I turned it against God, and that's completely wrong. And I see that now. You know, hopefully God will forgive me for it, and I know He has. And case in point, today, you know, He rose from the dead back in the day. You know, He died for our sins.
Right.
That's a pretty amazing thing. It's a sombering thought. So what else we have here? You know,
In this article, look at if it's funny how you mentioned chemtrails. Look at if you search and click on a conspiracy theory video about, say, chemtrails, YouTube will now link to a Wikipedia page that debunks the hoax alongside the video.
well, I can tell you right now that chemtrails they're pretty real.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know
now
how
they're
many
gonna.
people.
What it's saying is if you put a video about chemtrails saying it's real, they're gonna throw a video right next to yours to to debunk it.
Well, hey, man, have at it. You know what? You can't debunk what my camera picks up. You can't debunk me taking a picture or a video of an airplane flying past with contrails. And then you
But
have one
that's
right
why.
next to it. There's one right next to it blowing out, lithium, aluminum, you name it. And you can't tell me different. So that again goes back to the discernment is,
Right.
what God instills in you. He gives you that knowledge to say, you know what, I know what's right. They're going to try everything they can do to debunk anything to do with anything that circles back to God as being the core.
Right.
They don't want it. They want this all to be mainstream. I can't help what they do, but we can help how we react to it.
Right.
That's okay.
But you see how they're throwing this in here? They're gonna any conspiracy theory, they're gonna throw factual videos next to it. Like they know what's fact and what's not.
Well, I go through and look at videos on YouTube, and I just kind of shake my head and it's like, are you serious? You let this on YouTube, but you shut Naughty Beaver down for what he wants to talk about? Was he getting too close to the truth? Who decides that? Who decides to 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 put him out?
It's got to
I
be
don't.
the YouTube algorithms.
Yeah, but I mean, there's got to be someone above that to say you got to go.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to understand. Who's in charge of that?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same guy that makes the fortune cookies or somebody. I don't know. Somebody's got to be in charge of it. But we're going to talk about Fidel Castro too. That's somebody that's not necessarily a cult leader, but I just wanted to use him as an example as um, someone that can start a revolution. In their own country. And inevitably Fidel Castro, just about helped start a nuclear war. Between Cuba and Russia against the U.S. Not too far away from Florida, put nuclear tipped missiles pointing right at Florida. They would have hit like Cape Canaveral, that area. They could have hit anywhere.
Right.
But Russia just came out with the Satan ballistic missile. That's a scary thing.
Satan 2.
Yeah, very scary. You got some people like Elon Musk sending up convertibles, and on the other hand, you got people that are sending up missiles that will destroy our whole country. Fidel Castro. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, what's that?
I'm just looking at this right here. It says, this is kind of scary here. YouTube has also still yet to decide and implement clear rules for when uploading conspiracy theory content violates its community guidelines. Nothing in the rules explicitly prevents creators from publishing videos featuring conspiracy theories or misleading information. But lately, YouTube has been cracking down on accounts that spread hoaxes anyway. How are they going to determine what's a hoax and what isn't? And what's a conspiracy theory and not? Come on.
Okay. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense to me, but it just sounds like that they want to try to be proactive and make themselves look like they know more than everyone else. People can still watch the videos, but they have the access to additional information, you know. Since, eventually it's going to be like, I'm going to do a video on God and how God loves you and how God gives you grace and the power to get through things. Now, how are they going to counter that? Are they, are they going to say, well, um,
Buddha.
Buddha, Allah, you know? It's like, hey, I don't care what you believe, but they're not going to bother anybody that's worshiping Allah. They're not going to bother anybody that's worshiping Buddha or Satan or whoever. The reason why Christianity is the most persecuted religion in the world is because I've always understood and I've always been taught that it's the one true religion.
Right.
Just God, the Holy Spirit. Jesus is bad to them. They don't want it.
And that's another reason I think we need to get this information out too, because if YouTube starts doing this and knocking people out, our voice is going to be gone.
Well, and that again, what I was saying, I asked a subscriber of mine and say, hey, let me get your email. And I would encourage other people to do that with their subscribers. Say, get your email, get any contact information if you need to, because, there will be another platform if YouTube does this, who knows? Maybe this community can start their own, file sharing site where they can go on and a platform where they can do what we're doing right now without the oversight of Google algorithms, that would be cool. That might be something that, I don't have to know how to do that, but maybe someone else does. They got dating websites, they've got all kinds of stuff like that. Why couldn't someone do that?
Right.
Just having an open forum, say, hey, I've got 150,000 pictures, I'd like to post, can I post them here? Sure, you can. That might be something to look into, for real.
Yeah.
What do you think about ISIS?
Don't get me started.
We were talking about Saddam Hussein earlier too.
Right.
He thought that he was what? Who did he think he was? Was it Solomon? No, Nebuchadnezzar. That's who it was. He thought he was a reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar. What a silly fella.
He killed a lot of people, though.
Yeah, I don't think ISIS is dead by any means.
No. But it's funny how we're not hearing as much about them.
I think it's being suppressed by the mainstream media.
I think so too.
You know, it's old news. People are more worried about the president being sued by a porn star.
Right.
You know, I think that's terrible. You know, that doesn't eliminate. Uh-oh.
What happened?
Hey, Stefan, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I just lost connection on my other computer.
Oh. Does that mean are we still live with everybody else though?
It says I'm live right here on my screen.
Do we have anybody?
This other screen.
Do we have anybody still on the chat?
Let me see if I can get back on and rejoin the call. No, I think we're still fine.
Yeah, it was the YouTube things because of the Parkland shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where I got my copyright strike was from because of that. I mentioned Parkland.
Well, the truth hurts. The truth hurts. I mean, it's very, very unfortunate. You know, I'm a gun advocate. I'm a safe gun owner. Responsible gun owner.
And I believe those kind of people deserve to own guns. But again, it goes down to the vetting again.
That's correct. Now, you know, if you're a bad person, if you have mental issues, you know, it all stems down from, you know, the HIPAA laws and that kind of thing that they're trying to pass legislation for. Is, you know, if you have mental issues, you know, them being able to access those records and make a, you know, ascertain, you know, how or should they let you have a firearm? Man, I don't know. You're in uncharted territories there. We're still live.
Yeah, I'm going to your channel here. It says there's 2 watching. I hope that's not just me and you.
I hope not either, but that's okay. It should not count. Still live.
There we go. Oh, now I see some chat. Let me pause this. So,
hey, there we go. We've got some comments there. There we go. Hey guys, I'm sorry. We're not the brightest bulb in the chandelier, if you know what I mean. Please make fun. Yeah, I like that.
I'm gonna
Okay,
go
Bevo's
back.
pick said there is other platform. GodTube.
What?
That's
GodTube.
pretty cool. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check that out.
I'm
Well, Rebecca's right. Uh, you can't deny what your camera's seeing. Everybody's seeing the same things. Thank y'all for being with us too. We really appreciate that. Is there any topics y'all would like us to talk about, or y'all would like to talk about with us? All I can say is, do not drink the Kool-Aid. So, so in your follow-up video on your April Fools, you said you're going to terminate all your, you're going to terminate your channel. I thought that was very funny too.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
really fun.
it. It kind of was. The whole thing was kind of strange. Even starting with the sickness. You know, I don't want to say that God gave me a sickness,